Hello and welcome to our program today. My name is Ray LaPalkin. Today on the Universal Peace Federation program, we're going to be talking about addressing our critical challenges. This was a conference that was held here in Pittsburgh in the spring of 2017, and we covering certain topics talking about true character, family, leadership in America, and how that eventually can lead to leadership throughout the world, and addressing our critical challenges through building good character. But before we get into our program and the conference, I'd like to show you this short video.
We are an organization, a movement, a worldwide network of people, but we are guided and we come together centering on certain core shared values, a common ground that we believe is held by all the world's religious traditions, by people of conscience from every race, religion, and nationality. In this presentation, we'll take a look at how these core principles are applied, how they're embodied in the lives and works of our friends and colleagues throughout the world, that global network of ambassadors for peace, the true peace builders of the UPF, who are making a difference throughout the world.
The real problem of the conflicts in our world, it's a problem of leadership. And so UPF has identified core principles for peace building.
The Universal Peace Federation is breaking new grounds on how to build, achieve, and secure peace in the world. That is through true love.
When I look and study the universal principles that are presented here, I just see myself, like sitting at the feet of Jesus, because he's talking about love for God with all yourself, love your neighbor like yourself, forgiveness, love your enemies.
Also, there's the importance of family, where we raise the children, we raise citizens of the future, and the stable, loving, caring, nurturing family system and structure is absolutely essential to building a world of peace.
When parents give love to the children as they're growing up, these children will grow up to be responsible citizens who will give back the love and the respect that you gave them.
We include a broad range of programs related to a comprehensive vision of human development. We underscore the need for character development. We have character education curriculum that we are advocating be adopted in school curricula around the world.
In Oceania, our character education programs are being welcomed. The First Lady of Palau says, I really want character education in our schools. So now we're working on a pilot project. Our goal is to really empower the ambassadors for peace to really become ambassadors of character education.
All over the world, we could be educating young children in something they love to practice a high level of values. This is a great way to promote character education.
Sports provide a wonderful opportunity to get together, and I believe that in this way you can really break a lot of stereotypes and open a lot of hearts.
Volunteerism is really very important, and I think it will really define that person. When a person does something without thinking of anything in return, by volunteering his skill, his resources, his talents, and it makes him a noble person.
We have to start working with the grassroots and the youths of our countries who are our future leaders, and I think we will have peace in the world.
Linked to our character education and our marriage and family strengthening initiative, we are active in the fight against HIV/AIDS.
UPF has a very interesting curriculum for education in respect of creating awareness about AIDS and HIV. There's a big concern developing in India now because the incidence of HIV/AIDS has been increasing. It is disturbing to the people.
AIDS prevention programs are taking place almost everywhere, I can say, in Africa. In South Africa in particular, the government is sponsoring our HIV programs. Why? Because they recognize this is the best that can be offered.
One issue that we tackled was Christian-Jewish relationships. We felt that something unresolved remains there, which also prevents Jewish and Christian brothers and sisters from embracing their Muslim brothers and sisters. So we started a series of seminars, and they're amazing. The rabbis and the Jewish scholars and the Christian ministers and the theologians that came were able to dig out many things that were kept inside that helped people feel transformed or resolved.
The Tunnel Bridge project is significant as a symbol of the new era for us to live in. It's a connection of cultures, of countries, of peoples, of various civilizations, of religions. It's a first necessary step to the new era of global economy and global democracy.
UPF has developed the Women for Peace initiative to contribute to the empowerment of women in leadership positions throughout the world.
The energies women provide the world need to be encapsulated, which will then reflect into good leadership, selfless leadership, good governance, zero tolerance to corruption.
Any peace building in any country will start with mothers. You change the mothers, you make the mothers understand, definitely peace will be there.
Our vision of good governance applies not only to governments, but also to the religions, as well as to civil society. Recently, on the World Peace Tour that went to 120 nations, religious leaders from all faiths carried the message of peace that included a proposal first proposed by UPF's founder, Reverend Dr. Sun Myung Moon, to establish an interreligious council at the United Nations, so that the strengths, the experience and wisdom of religion can be brought to bear as we all work together to solve our critical global problems.
The United Nations is the representative of political governments, and political governments, they have their agendas as well, and they have their limitations as well.
Another essential concept within the peace messages is the idea of establishing what's called an able United Nations.
The idea of the able United Nations is to attempt to bring into the political rigmarole of the United Nations a spiritual element, a good element, and good meaning, that's why we call it, or people call it, able.
When we look at the call of the Reverend Dr. Sun Myung Moon to create the able type United Nations, he is defining a concept that says we must be about reconciliation and to serve rather than to be served. And in that model, we will be able to accomplish not only a sense of one family under God, but we will create the very structure, the very foundation that will allow us to build a world of true and lasting peace.
I was richly blessed carrying this peace message in the Congo. I have more love in my heart than I ever had in my life, with more peace than I've ever had in my life. And all that I know is from the Lord.
I wanted to bring this peace message across on the television because how it changed my life, I knew it would change the lives of others as well. Through this peace message, we can give the message of family with high moral values.
At one church, the security actually carried weapons, and their response to the message was they received the revelation that they were to no longer carry weapons of destruction, and that the only weapon that they were to carry was the weapon of love.
Peace can only come from the heart, mind, and soul, and we took this message of peace throughout the world.
We have reason to be very hopeful. We're encouraged, we're excited about the future of our work. Most of all, we want to work together with you. We can build a community of peace builders that can make a difference in this world. There's so many activities and programs within the UPF. Please find your place to contribute. Let's work together. Let's build a world of lasting peace.
Hope you enjoyed that overview of the Universal Peace Federation and its different programs that we're involved in. As a prelude to the conference, we had some readings from the co-founders of the Universal Peace Federation, Reverend Moon and his wife, Dr. Hakchahan Moon, and I'd like to read some of their words. We look at this world and see unspeakable, inarticulate misery happening all around the globe. This is impossible to solve with mere human power. What should we do from here on forward? We should start a movement that once again attends God as the original owner of the universe in our families, countries, and world. However, the reality is that although our hearts are eager to attend God, it's hard to practice in real life. America today is a microcosm of the world. What happens in America will shape the destiny of the world and God's providence. God is working through a clear plan that he wants to unfold in this nation. At the Yankee Stadium rally, I asked, don't you need a doctor if someone in your family falls ill? Don't you need a firefighter if your house catches fire? God sent me to America with the responsibilities of a doctor and a firefighter. At the September 18th, 1976 Washington Monument rally, I announced, God sent me to this nation to convey a new revelation. He called me especially to guide young people back to God, young people who will be the future leaders of America. When Reverend Moon came to the United States in 1971, he said, I came as a doctor and as a firefighter. Although heaven had thoroughly prepared the U.S. as a stronghold for the free world, the nation had deviated from its original direction of upholding God's will and instead stood at a crossroads of life and death because of its decadent culture. Family breakdown and communist infiltration. Reverend Moon knew how hard God had worked to nurture the United States, which was facing threats to its religious and philosophical underpinnings, from communism and immorality. He was compelled to go to the front line by himself once more to help save the country. What needs to be settled first, rising above all scholarly pursuits, customs, and established social structures, is a question of God. God must be the beginning point. If God created human beings through a process from a starting point, we can't realize a world of peace unless we discover the God intended to actualize his ideal of creation, which is humanity's destination. The world of peace is a world of oneness. If God and human beings take different directions, the one world of peace cannot appear. Thus, the necessary conclusion is there must be only one direction for both God and humankind. Therefore, unless we jettison on the direction of this human-centered world and set our course toward a world that upholds God as a supreme being, we cannot find the way to a unified, peaceful world. At the center of the Christian faith is the affirmation that there is a God in the universe, who is the ground and essence of all reality. A being of infinite love and boundless power, God is a creator, sustainer, and conserver of values. In opposition to communist atheistic materialism, Christianity posited a theistic idealism. Reality cannot be explained by matter in motion or the push and pull of economic forces. Christianity affirms that at the heart of a reality is a loving Father who works through history for the salvation of his children. Many countries have their own dreams, and the leaders of those nations have a vision for how their people can prosper. However, at this point in time, it's morally unacceptable to pursue one's own national interest and push for one's own nation's happiness, freedom, and peace. There are many divisive national boundaries in the world today, and many agonizing racial and religious conflicts. To surmount these, we need to lead humankind to the path of attendance to our Heavenly Parent, the Creator. We come to lead people to follow the way the true parents have taught. When all countries become one as brothers and sister nations through the true parents, the entire world will move with one heart and one will. Then we can easily resolve the problems that plague us today. Unification thought is Godism, or head-wing thought. It's neither right-wing nor left-wing. It is head-wing. The reason for this is that neither right-wing nor left-wing can deliver us from self-centeredness. If you go forward centered on yourself or only for the benefit of your nation, then contradictory understandings will remain for eternity. No unification or peace will result from this. Accordingly, we need a new world of thought that can oust self-centered thought. Democracy is an ideology of brothers. Going beyond the ideology of brothers, we need to seek the philosophy of parents, or parentism. For this, we need a worldview and teaching based on parents. That very philosophy is unification thought. It is Godism, which is head-wing thought. The assertions based on its logical content compare well with historical standards. It does not contradict the facts. Therefore, on the basis of the ideal of perfection established and revealed by God, Cain and Abel, the Soviet Union, and the U.S., left and right, must return to the parents at the center. After turning around, they must go to the original homeland. What exactly is Godism? It is the thought that has true love as its center. The family cannot unite through false love. False love is Satan's ideology. False love cannot bring about unity. As a result of false love, mind and body became divided, husbands and wives separated, and sons and daughters ended up as enemies. In this way, even God became an enemy. We started with this false ideology of Satan, but now Godism has to emerge. The world became the way it is through false love. So Godism, which has true love as its center, needs to produce true individuals, true couples, and true families. Godism leads us not to separation, but to unity. God's true love brings unity. This is Godism, or head-wing thought. The first segment of the program was titled True Character, Leadership, and Good Governance. And what we did was we had a little roundtable discussion on this topic, but first we did some readings from different people. Some were from speeches and some comments that were made, and I'd like to read a few of those. The person who invests love continuously without expecting a direct return becomes a central being. The one who inherits everything in the person of greatest filial piety. In a family of 10 people, including a grandmother and grandfather, the one who lives most for the sake of others will be the central person. Our world of peace must begin within the private world of each one of us. To build for a man a world without fear, we must be without fear. To build a world of justice, we must be just. And how can we fight for liberty if we are not free in our own minds? How can we ask others to sacrifice if we're not ready to do so ourselves? Only in true surrender of the interest of all can we reach that strength and independence, that unity of purpose, that equality of judgment, which are necessary if we are to measure up to our duty in the future, as men of a generation to whom the chance was given to build in a time of world of peace. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does greatest things. He's the one who gets the people to do the greatest things. That was Ronald Reagan. And this is under the topic, how do we develop good character as a lifelong pursuit? Everything depends on our effort. We need to awaken our conscience. Our conscience is the second heavenly parent. When it is fully awakened, we can live a life of continual enlightenment through spirit and truth, a life of prayer and of gratitude for everything. We can hear the voice of our heavenly parent thrill us and resonate with us. That was from Dr. Hak Jahanman. Your mind and body unite when you are truly 100% grateful. When this happens, those around you become happier. If you live your life with a heart of gratitude for the blessings of heaven that heaven has given you, I think you will be able to create even more joy among those around you. And you'll be able to spread those blessings to your family, society, nation, and world. You are truly happy people to be able to work with the true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind. This is a little topic about education, developing good character. Education in great measure forms moral character of men, and morals are the basis of government. It is much easier to introduce and establish an effectual system for preserving morals than to correct by penal statutes the ill effects of a bad system. The only practical method to reform mankind is to begin with children and a good education. In the ideal human society, true love that always seeks to give to others forms the basis for a relationship. Such true love is motivated by the experience of the true love of parents. And the love of parents, which in turn is rooted in God's true love, is a means to nurture a child's character to its fully completed state. A man and woman nurtured in this way, each possessing completed character, come together as husband and wife to form a family, where they will convey true love to their children. This is the original order of creation. The ideal world on earth is built on one individual possessing completed character and is able to expand true love in an ever-widening concentric circles of family, society, nation, and world. The second session of the program was going from building character on the individual level to talking about marriage and family as our essential resource. And I'd like to do some readings from that. What is marriage? Why is marriage important? Marriage is important because it's the road to finding love. It's the road to recreating life. It's the road where the life of a man and woman unite into one. It's the place where a man's lineage combines with a woman's lineage. History emerges through marriage, and from marriage, nations appear and an ideal world begins. Without marriage, there is no meaning to the existence of individuals, nations, and an ideal world. This is the formula. Man and woman must become absolutely one. Parents and children must become absolutely one with God and live and die with God. And when they die and go to the spirit world, that's the place called heaven. But there's been no individual, family, or nation which has fulfilled that ideal. And the world and humankind have yet not established that ideal. What is the purpose of marriage? Is it simply for men and women to live together? The purpose of marriage is the perfection of the mind and the heart, and the perfection of their love. Through marriage, they can achieve that goal. When you declare to the world that you are married, you are actually declaring the initiation of your venture to perfect your mind and heart and love. When you die, you're supposed to have accomplished all of that in your married life and be qualified to go to the kingdom of heaven. Since God has both male and female characteristics, when men and women come together in love, they are presenting the total image of God. Within that love container, there is always room for two. When men and women come together in unity, they become a unit of minus to God, who is the big plus. There is give and take action between them. And this is under the subtitle, What is the Ideal for Married Life and Why is it so important for a civil society? We speak of fundamental freedoms and of human rights, but actually, where and when are we really free and human? Is it in the streets? Is it in our direct relations to our state? Is it not rather the case that we enjoy our deepest and truest freedom and humanity in our family, in the church, in our intimate circle of friends, when we are impressed or immersed in the joyful ways of life of our own people, when we seek, find, and see the knowledge and acknowledge this truth? The fact is that the family is a universal and irreplaceable community, rooted in human nature and the basis for all societies in the world. At the cradle of life and love for each generation, the family is a primary source of personal identity, self-esteem, and support for children. It is the first and foremost school of life, uniquely suited to teach children integrity, character, morals, responsibility, service, and wisdom. The state's foremost obligation is to respect, defend, and protect the family as an institution. The family is eternally unchanging origin and foundation. It cannot be changed even by parents, much less siblings or national policies. Nothing can change it. Therefore, in relation to the family, the term revolution is eternally unnecessary. The family is a place of love. There is no need for revolution. Our hearts are the same. The feelings of youth are the same. However, the framework of the family is changing and creating all sorts of structures and shapes. Once we establish the family with this standard, it will never change, even for eternity. It will instill order in a people and a nation. So that gives you a little bit of a summary of what we discussed, and then we had questions at the end. We had a nice roundtable discussion again, talking about building character as a basis, and then as the family, marriage and the family, again, as a cornerstone and building block of society. So if you have any questions, again, would like to have you join us, please, my contact information has been on the screen. And I also always like to offer complimentary copies of Reverend Moon's autobiography. It's as a peace-loving global citizen, the founder of the Universal Peace Federation. So thank you for joining us today.